And here's a shout out for all you public citizens. Let's do it.
Good evening and welcome to Public Citizens Virtual Gala, an evening of laughter, music, and inspiration. Featuring musical guests Graham Nash, Lucinda Williams, Lake Street Dive, and the Shoal Survivors. Congress members Mondaire Jones and Jamie Raskin. Plus comedians Negin Farsad, Alex Edelman, Baratunde Thurston, and me, John Fugelsang. Now, please welcome the President of Public Citizen, Robert Weissman.
Hey, everybody. It is great to have you with us for Public Citizens 2021 Virtual Gala. We are going to have a great night tonight. Oh my gosh, what a year this has been. After this year, at this moment in time, we wanted to come together in our virtual gala to share some information, to strategize a bit together, to be inspired and uplifted, but most of all, just to have fun. Tonight, you're going to hear this great array of comedians and musicians, two awesome champions in the U.S. Congress, and from public citizen staff. You're going to get these snapshots of different kinds of work we're doing from a staff that is brilliant and unmatched in any advocacy organization, as far as I know, anywhere in the world. And we're going to dive down a little bit into our work to protect, preserve, defend, and advance our democracy. Work we have done, work we're doing right now, and work we're going to be doing going forward. In the course of tonight, I promise you, you will learn things, you will laugh, you might sing along, you will be inspired, and it's even possible by the end of it, you'll find a tear in your eye. Look, so it's going to be a great night. We want you to be as engaged as possible. Whatever platform you're watching on, feel free to throw up your comments in the chat. I'll be on YouTube offering a couple of comments myself when I'm not speaking. We also want to let you know that this is a fundraiser. It's free to watch, so don't leave if you don't have any money. But if you do, we love if you were inspired, felt like you wanted to make a donation during the course of the event. For this gala, our goal is to raise $400,000. We're $33,000 short, and we want to get across that finish line before the night is over. You can make a donation at any time by going to citizen.org. With that, let's get this thing kicked off. Let's get rocking with Lake Street Drive.
Hey there, we're Lake Street Dive. Happy to be part of tonight's gala, supporting all the important work that Public Citizen is doing. Keep rocking.
One, two, 1, 2. I just wanna love you. I just wanna try. I know we're the subject of 1,000 crying eyes. I worry about the gossip. Do you think that
1,000,000 miles from shore.
At least until they build a tower where there wasn't one before. We just keep on making that same news. I'm feeling awful tired from being so hot-wired. It's the same news.
Oh, I just wanna love you, but it's causing so much trouble.
It's the same news. Every time we kiss, I can hear them start to whisper. They know all our secrets,
Yes, they do.
and they know where we've been.
Oh,
The inside our head and the underneath our skin. Yeah.
oh, haven't you heard? It's so absurd. I think it's a waste, but it's still a basic human urge.
They keep spreading the same old, same old, same old, same old, same old, same old. That's all. Thanks, everybody.
Hi, I'm David Arkish. I run the climate program at Public Citizen. The thing we're working on that I'm the most excited about right now is we're working to stop the money pipeline from Wall Street to fossil fuel companies. We're working to get insurers to stop covering fossil fuels. They can't operate without insurance. And we're working to get Wall Street to stop fueling the climate crisis and instead invest more money in equitable green climate solutions. It's a really exciting time. We're making a lot of progress, both in terms of government policy, especially with the new administration, and on the corporate campaign side. Again, super exciting work, really effective. If they don't have money, if they don't have insurance, they can't heat up our planet.
Hey everyone, I'm Congressman Mondaire Jones, and I am so thrilled to be able to spend a few minutes with all of you this evening to celebrate the critical work that Public Citizen does every single day, work that you all make possible. The theme for this year's gala is democracy protection, something that in this moment could not be more urgent. As all of you well know, our democracy is in crisis. The violent insurrection at the Capitol that I lived through on January 6th, an attack premised on the big lie of mass voter fraud, tells us so. But the fact is, the forces that led to January 6th have been active for many years, and they've only grown more brazen in the months since. In the last 6 months alone, we've seen more than 400 racist voter suppression bills introduced in nearly every state house across the country, including bills already signed into law in Georgia and in Florida. And we're just months away from what may well be the most significant federal redistricting year in our lifetimes, as Republican state legislatures promise to weaponize partisan gerrymandering more aggressively than ever before to lock in a decade or more of minority rule. It is no exaggeration to say that our democracy is on the brink. And that's why the work Public Citizen does is so essential. From voting rights to fighting corruption to making government work for the people, Public Citizen is on the front lines day in and day out, working not only to protect our democracy, but to strengthen it. Not only does Public Citizen build powerful grassroots coalitions, you develop research, insights, and deep analysis that policymakers like myself depend on as we work toward bold, progressive change. What I appreciate most about Public Citizen is that you understand a healthy, functioning democracy is foundational to making progress on all of the important issues we care about as progressives. From housing to healthcare, to racial and economic justice, the biggest obstacle we face is a democracy that has been distorted by corporations, special interests, and the wealthy. Building a more equitable and just world starts with building a more equitable and just democracy. This work has always been important, but never more so than in this moment. Our democracy and our nation is at a once-in-a-lifetime moment of reckoning. On one side is an autocratic system in which the wealthy, the well-connected, and the white supremacists hoard power at the expense of working and middle-class Americans. But on the other is a multiracial, multi-generational democracy that centers the experiences of everyday Americans and engages in the hard work of building a more perfect union. The future is truly up to us. And despite everything we're up against, with partners like Public Citizen and all of you in this fight, I know there is no limit to what we can accomplish. It won't be easy, but fights worth winning rarely are. And in case there is any doubt, let me tell you that this isn't just a fight that's worth winning, but one that we must win. With your help, I have every confidence that we will. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Jones. My name is Steve Scrovan. I'm a board member of Public Citizen. I'm coming to you live. I'm manning the tote board here. And yes, I'm wearing a tie in my house. Of course, I'm naked from the waist down, but hey, eyes up here, eyes up here. I want to tell you about why I give to Public Citizen. When you support the work of Public Citizen, you're not really giving to someone else. You are supporting work that gives back to you. You're supporting work that has your best interests at heart. Like all the staffers you're going to hear from tonight, this whole layer of unsung heroes, they're looking out for us. And they have a great job because they get to bring their conscience to work. I'm a comedy writer. I get to bring my id to work. That's a whole different thing. But they are always doing what is right for us. They have no other agenda. So if you've already given, thank you. If you're just hearing about us, give what you can. You can donate right now. Help us reach our goal. The website is at the bottom of the screen, citizen.org/gala, and give as you can. Speaking of staffers, you're about to hear from the woman whose job it is to hire and manage a team of 100 staffers and interns. Sherry keeps this organization humming.
Hi, my name is Sherry Joseph. I'm the Director of HR, Administration, and IT at Public Citizen. I have been employed here for the past 7 years. I enjoy coming to work at Public Citizen every single day because I know we work on some awesome projects for people throughout the United States, whether it's access to medicine, to Global Trade Watch, Congress Watch, or our litigation department. We try and hire the best people to work in those programs so that we can get results, and we do get results.
Hey everyone, my name is Amit Narang. I'm a Public Citizen's regulatory policy advocate. I work in our Congress Watch division. My job is to make sure that we protect the public through strong regulations on behalf of consumers, workers, the environment, and the broader public. I've been doing this job for 10 years. I've been loving every minute of it, and I'm really looking forward to doing this for the next 10 years and beyond. Thank you.
And now, the Executive Vice President of Public Citizen, Lisa Gilbert.
Hey, everyone. So excited to be with you to talk about our progress on democracy reform. As I'm sure everyone who's listening tonight thinks, it has been a disastrous 4 years of Donald Trump, 2 impeachments, an uncountable number of violations to ethics norms, human decency, the law, and his tenure has come to a close, and we are in a very different posture than the last time we had a gala. The White House and both chambers of Congress now hold pro-democracy majorities, and the real work has really begun. I'm so proud that Public Citizen is right in the middle of this fight. 3 years ago, when we were first starting to really understand what the Trump administration was going to be like in terms of ethics violations, we formed a massive democracy coalition called the Declaration for American Democracy. Our idea was that maybe in the wake of Donald Trump, there would be a moment, there would be a time when people were ready, sort of post-Watergate-esque, ready to move forward forward and pass transformative democracy reform. And we were right. We started building policy recommendations, working with folks on the Hill, and built our coalition to be over 200 organizations of every kind, environmental groups and labor and everything you can think of. And because of that, we were able to move the For the People Act in the last Congress, and we are ready to do so again. So just describing a little bit of where we're at right now, the For the People Act, or HR1 or S1, is certainly the most obvious example of the progress we've made and also the fight ahead. The groundbreaking legislation, which I'm sure many of you know all about, addresses the long-term systemic problems that are caused by corruption, too much money in politics, and impediments to voting access. And just days before chaos descended on our Capitol in January, the bill was reintroduced in the new 117th Congress as HR1. It's really important to say that this designation underscores its status as a top legislative priority and really demonstrates Speaker Pelosi's deep commitment to reform. The sweeping package addresses key areas of reform essential to making our government work. It's going to end partisan gerrymandering, create automatic voter registration and same-day registration, provide sweeping campaign finance reforms to end dark money and create a public financing system, slows the revolving door between public service and private sector, among many other critical reforms. The bill was sponsored by every Democrat in the House, which was not an easy feat and due in part to our coalition, and passed in March. And from there, it's been on the move in the Senate. Due again to intense pressure from our coalition in the Senate, the For the People Act was also designated S1. That is just such a critical signaling. It shows priority level from Majority Leader Schumer to the rest of the caucus. It shows it to the White House and to the public. The legislation has had a hearing chaired by Senator Klobuchar of Minnesota in the Senate. And then from there, we had a committee markup in which, there were hundreds of Republican amendments filed trying to sort of put the Democrats in a tough spot, pretend the bill is solely a partisan power grab. We know it's actually a necessary fix to our system, and we were able to defeat the majority of those amendments. And it's truly an emergency. When we think about the voter suppression bills moving around the country, we need this bill to create a floor and make sure those pieces of state level legislation don't become a reality. So we at Public Citizen are focusing around the country in specific states with senators who need to hear the message of how important it is to pass S1 and how important changing the rules, changing the filibuster in order to make that happen really is. We think this moment is key. We think we can win, and we believe that Public Citizen has been overwhelmingly pivotal for getting us to the place we are now.
It turns out that even for virtual galas, you can mess up the mute button. Thank you, Lisa. I'm going to pick up the story where Lisa dropped it. I just want to say one thing about what she said, all of which is exactly right, except she neglected to say how central her personal role was in driving us forward with the For the People Act, with bringing together a huge coalition of organizations that's going to get us across the finish line. So what I want to do is talk about where we are and where we're going. As I'm sure all of you know, the Senate voted on Tuesday on the For the People Act, or at least on whether there should be a debate about the For the People Act. All 50 Democrats voted to proceed with the debate, including Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia. All of the Republicans voted to block debate. All 50 of them said, we're not even going to talk about it. Now, what you might not understand is that was a victory. That was the plan. That was the reason to have the vote, was for that exact outcome. So I'm not sure this message has got through. So let me say that again. That was the plan. That was a victory. We are closer today to winning passage of the For the People Act for what happened on Tuesday than we were on Monday. Okay, so what exactly is this plan and where do we go from now? The point of the vote was to bring the Democrats together, and it was really crucial that Senator Manchin voted to proceed with the debate. And simultaneously, it was to illustrate that the Republicans are not going to agree even to let debate proceed. There are not 10 Republicans who are going to agree to any voting reform. In fact, I think if there's a bill that's called voting reform and has the word "the" in it, and that's the whole bill, there aren't 10 Republicans for that. The vote on Tuesday was part of the process of illustrating that. Where we go from here, well, this was not the decision point. We're going to reach the decision point, hopefully, at the end of July or beginning of August. So right now, today, we had a demonstration in Washington, D.C. There are busloads of freedom riders coming to D.C. for this Saturday, Black Voters Matter freedom rides, arriving to keep the pressure going. When members of Congress go back home, they're going to be greeted by protesters and rallies and joining events and press conferences. And the 2 weeks that they're home, all across the country with operations that are being organized by our huge coalition and many allies and us. When they come back to Washington, D.C. at the end of July, that's where the rubber is going to hit the road. The pressure is going to get really intense. We're going to mobilize people here in Washington, D.C. We're going to bring people in to Washington, D.C., not directed, by the way, at targeting Joe Manchin, but it's showing the popular and intensity around this issue, the demand to win democracy reform, and elevating the moral moment that we're facing. And then we're going to find a way to win this thing, working around, reforming, whatever, the filibuster. We're going to get the 50 votes we need, plus Kamala Harris, the vice president, is 51, to win passage of the bill, working around the filibuster and sending it to President Biden to sign into law. That is going to happen. That is going to happen. And it really has to happen because, as Representative Jones was saying, our country's at a crossroads right now. Our country's really at a crossroads. And it's really clear what the two paths look like. One path is deepening racism, flirting with fascism, and entrenching oligarchic rule. And the other path is deepening our democracy, bringing people in, and making the government work for all of us. I am not exaggerating when I say we're at a crossroads, and the threat is as severe as I say. Well, you know this. Just think about all the naked, racist voter suppression going on around the country. What in the world does it mean if Georgia is making it illegal to hand out water to people who are waiting in line to vote, waiting in long lines that the legislature is basically forcing to occur? What does it mean when we're seeing the most partisan and extreme gerrymandering designed to rig elections? What does it mean when we have more big money dominance of elections than we have seen at any time in our recent history? With, for example, just 100 people contributing 70% of all super PAC contributions. 100 people, 100 individuals, 70% of all the super PAC money. That's the kind of thing we used to laugh about, what we call banana republics, but it's what's happening right now here in the United States of America. So we have a choice to let that all spin out of control. And we know, what is it going to look like? Well, we had our foreshadowing on January 6th. But that's one option. And the other option is for us all to work together and get across the finish line for transformative democracy reform that brings people in and makes the country work the way it's supposed to work. Well, that's, of course, that's not a choice. There's only one thing to do. And together, I'm 100% confident we are going to do that. Together, we are going to do that. We've come a long way, and we're now nearing the finish line, and we're going to get there. All right, well, that's a little bit of the heavy stuff. Let's lighten it up a little bit. Negin, let's hear from you.
Hey, folks, Negin Farsad here. And I just wanted to share with you guys a little tidbit that basically America's been super, weird for a little while now. And I'll just give you an example from my own life. I was on MSNBC not too long ago, because I'm the voice of a generation, clearly. And, we were there, this is before the election, so we were there talking about our ruler. And, after the show, someone tweeted at me, Negin Farsad is clearly the Jewish nerd on the panel. And, I am an Iranian American Muslim, like all of you. And so to be called a Jewish nerd felt like an upgrade. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, thank you. But actually, I responded, I'm the Muslim nerd on the panel, to which they said, I'm sorry, but you're clearly a Jewy McJew face. And I thought it was so interesting that they were so insistent that I be Jewish. Like, I'm sorry I took your anti-Semitism away from you, but I feel like Islamophobia is a really good substitute. You know what I mean? It's like a packet of stevia. And I wanted to point out to them that, like, Jewy McJewface is actually an Irish name. You know what I mean? Like, if you wanted to, like, really get at me, you'd call me, like, Bagel Face Goldstein $sign or something. But I figured, like, it's maybe, you know, like their first day on the job at bigotry or something. And, you know, and we've all been there, right? It's like, it's your first day on the job. You don't know where the water cooler is. You don't know where the printer is. You don't know where your Jewish stereotypes are. So, you know, I didn't want to razz him too much for that. And I wanted to de-escalate. So what I did was I responded with a smiley face emoji. Because if there's anything we learned from the last 2 elections is that when they go low, we go emoji. You know, I'm just trying to live a better life, guys, a better Jewish life. That's all I'm trying to do.
Hi, I'm Derek, the Communications Director here at Public Citizen. My job is to make the public aware of all the good work that we do here. Working across the entire organization, we get our experts on TV, into top print papers, and also use our digital tools and social media to amplify our great work. It might look like magic, but it's not. It's a constant hustle, brainstorming, strategizing, building relationships with journalists, and having a keen sense of what issues matter to the public and how to message them so that they make sense.
My name is Stephanie Thomas, and I work in the Texas office of Public Citizen, fighting to protect communities harmed by cancer-causing air pollution, by chemical disasters, and by the climate crisis. Over the past 5 years, since starting with Public Citizen, I've worked to raise the awareness of the climate crisis in the energy capital of the world, Houston, Texas. And I've worked side by side with community groups to build local power and to demand accountability and transparency.
Thank you, Stephanie. I have a Man of the Tote Board here, an update. It looks like in the first half hour here, we have raised close to over $23,000. We're only $20,000 from our goal. Thank you so much. What a response. What a great surge. Keep it coming. We've got plenty more great show for you to see. And I just want to pick up on something Rob said. You can tell how important the For the People Act is by how the people who oppose it outrageously lie about it. You know, it's like if you support this bill, you'll get a sexually transmitted disease. You know, if you listen to Ted Cruz or Lindsey Graham, it's like, if we pass this legislation, everyone in America is going to get gonorrhea. That's no lie. So later, you're going to hear about how Public Citizen, in collaboration with NAACP, saved mail-in voting last year. That was kind of important. Those of you who attended the virtual gala last year remember how we said we were going to fight to protect it? Well, we did. We won. So this is what's at stake, and this is what you've empowered us to do. So keep it coming. I hope you're enjoying the show. I know you're going to enjoy our next guest, the legendary two-time Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, Graham Nash.
Just a song before I go, to whom it may concern. Traveling twice the speed of sound, it's easy to get burned. When the shows were over, we had to get back home. When we opened up the door, I had to be alone. She helps me with my suitcase. She stands before my eyes, driving me to the airport, into the friendly skies. Going through security, I held her for so long. She finally looked at me in love, and she was gone. Just a song before I go, a lesson to be learned. Traveling twice the speed of sound, it's easy to get burned.
Hi, my name's Melinda St. Louis, and this month marks my 10th anniversary working at Public Citizen. And I am very proud to direct our Medicare for All campaign. All of us have stories of loved ones who have had needed care delayed or denied, or they've faced huge medical bills. And I do this work for them, but I also do it for my own family, because no matter how fortunate we are right now, living in the United States, we know that we're just one serious illness or accident away from extreme financial worry, and it doesn't have to be this way. The last year of the COVID-19 pandemic further exposed just how inefficient, expensive, and cruel our profit-driven healthcare system is, with millions of people losing their health insurance along with their jobs during the worst healthcare crisis in a century. Meanwhile, the private insurance companies were raking in historic profits during this time. I'm proud to direct this campaign so we can work with Public Citizen members across the country and partners to build the people power we'll need to win healthcare as a human right for everyone living in the United States. We've already passed dozens of local resolutions in support of Medicare for All through city councils and county boards, in big cities and small counties, in red, blue, and purple states. And by doing so, we've really built the enduring local coalitions that we're going to need to build the movement we need to win Medicare for All.
My name is Zain Rizvi, and I'm a law and policy researcher in the Access to Medicines program. Everyone understands that rich countries have hoarded coronavirus vaccine doses, but fewer people pick up that rich countries have also hoarded the knowledge that is required to produce more doses. If we were to share the vaccine recipe, we could help ramp up production all around the world and end this pandemic. This would save lives, revive economies, and also help reduce the risk of new emerging variants that could pose a threat to us.
Yo, Public Citizen, what's up? Baratunde Thurston here, coming to you sort of kind of live. It's not live. From Los Angeles, California, Northeast, LA. Congratulations on existing. Thank you for the work you do. Here is what we have been through that I just want to reflect on with you for a moment. 2020 feels like the year that doesn't end, right? We're kind of in this overtime version of 2020. And as I reflect back on the last 12 or 15 months or 2000 months, whatever it's been, I remember how things felt in the beginning of this whole COVID situation. It was Friday the 13th, which is a easy day to remember as a horror show. And I had gone to the grocery store to buy all the food because I saw other people were going to the grocery store to buy all the food. So I was like, I got to get some food because people are buying all the food. So I go to Whole Foods because I'm fancy. And when I got to Whole Foods, which is a very plush grocery environment, it's owned by the richest man in the world, they had run out of kale. Whole Foods, which has one job, stock kale, had run out of kale. Now, in this country, we've been having conversations about insurrection and political violence and unrest. But when I tell you that what I saw in that Burbank Whole Foods, when they run out of kale, shook me to my core. Like, It shook me to my core. I'd never seen so much anger spew from so few yoga pants. I barely made it out with my life, definitely not my dignity, but that wasn't important at the time. From the Whole Foods, I went to the Home Depot to buy 2 of everything, approximately, give or take a thing. I'm buying 2x4s, raw copper. Like, sir, what are you preparing for? Maybe I have to rebuild a nation. I don't know. Just give it to me. I bought these security cameras because the nation that we live in is populated mostly by guns and then enough people to restock the ammunition and reload. I got these like super hip Wi-Fi security cameras because I don't know who's coming for my stuff. Nobody was coming for my stuff. So I point these cameras in my backyard instead, about the front, looking inward instead of outward. There's like a metaphor in there somewhere. You can get woo-woo with that if you like. And what I discovered was a whole civilization running in the backyard. Possum, skunks, raccoons, gangs of raccoons coming in, just putting their paws on the tomatoes, just rooting, not eating them, just like contaminating them. It was weird, but I have this on camera. There's a whole bunch of people living rent-free, for real, living actually rent-free in my yard. I am impressed that we've actually made it through as much as we have, even with all the trauma and all the pain and all the kinds of activism and all the loss. Good job. I'm impressed at the work you're doing to support us as citizens. I have some skin in this game. I have a podcast called How to Citizen. Maybe we could collab. And I'm worried. I'm worried about the state of our democracy. I remember in the protests after Derek Chauvin killed George Floyd. And a few weeks prior to that, we had other protests that folks didn't talk about very much, but they were equally rambunctious, heated, where folks showed up with like the Don't Tread on Me Revolutionary War cosplay costume, but with real guns, and stormed the state house capitals to reopen supercuts. The haircut riots. You remember the haircut riot? Oh, what a summer. And those same people took that signal of nothingness, of inaction, and said, let's do it again at the U.S. Capitol this time. We're in this precarious place where we're like depending on corporations to save us from a society dominated by corporations. Hey, highly leveraged superpower concentrated force, can you help the people get some power too? It's an odd thing. It's an odd situation to like beg for largesse from billionaires because they're the only ones, a handful, willing to do some of what needs to be done. I remember when the Washington football team dropped that heinous name, not because indigenous people were like, hey, it's a heinous name. Could you not hurt us with that? But because a global shipping company was like, yeah, not in our name. I was like, FedEx? You delivered? What is going on here? I'm not supposed to like you. So in a pinch, I'll take it. But what I prefer is a society where we, the people, actually have most of the power. Human people, not corporate people. Where we do what in my podcast we talk about. We show up and invest in relationships. We understand our power and we benefit the collective, not just the individual. Because without collective health, there is no individual life, not really. So that's probably enough. I don't know who I'm following. I don't know who's following me, but I am excited and grateful for the opportunity to address you and to try to briefly put into context some of what we've been through. And I look forward to winning alongside you. Peace.
Thank you, Baratunde. We will collaborate. I'm glad you're on our side. And hey, you guys are rocking it. The last I checked, like a minute ago, we're only $11,000 from our goal. It's help us get over the finish line. Go to citizen.org and pitch in. And I just want to take a minute to share some of the names of some of the folks who have really stepped up in a significant way to invest in this work. The first one I want to call out is Rob Chase, who just gave during the broadcast. Thank you so much. But we are so grateful to all of you. I want to thank the Sheila, Dave, and Sherry Gold Foundation. I want to thank Stephen Cohen, Joe Kachette, Tony Holzman, Deb LaCusta, and Dan Castellaneta, Michael Rooney, Gerson Smoger, my friends Liz Abbey and Lou Schneider, and Alexis Rappaport and Mike Rose. Thank you all. You're so fantastic. We're so close to the goal. As they say, only $10,000 left. Please make a gift now at citizen.org/gala. And I've just been told since my last comment that the Health Research Group actually works on STD drugs. So Ted Cruz, we got you covered. So come on, do the right thing. Now I'm going to shut up and introduce you to our next guest, the great Lucinda Williams.
This is called You Can't Rule Me. Yo, man, I got a right to talk about what I see. Way too much is going wrong. It's right in front of me. You can't rule me. You can't rule me. You can't take my money and try to rule me too. You might expect me to follow, but I ain't gonna fall in line. I tell you what, this much I know, the dotted line ain't been signed. You can't rule me. You can't rule me. You can't take my soul and try to rule me too. You might beat me, you might cheat me, try to make me change my mind. You might stick me, you might kick me, I'm gonna tell you one last time. You can't rule me. You can't rule me. You can't take my money and try to rule me too. Okay, still. You wanna go and tell me what's good for me. You wanna tell me what I'm paying for. The game is fixed, it's plain to see, but I ain't playing no more. You can't rule me. You can't rule me. You can't take my money and try to rule me too. You can't rule me. Can't rule me. You can't take my soul and try to rule me too. You can't rule me. You can't rule me. You can't take my soul and try to rule me too. Take my money and try to rule me too. Come on, that's what I'm talking about.
Hi, my name is Melanie Foley. I'm the International Campaigns Director with the Global Trade Watch Division of Public Citizen. I'm from the DC area and have been with GTW for about 8 years. We're currently working on a really inspiring and impactful campaign for a temporary waiver of pharmaceutical monopoly protections at the World Trade Organization. This campaign has the potential to help address COVID-19 vaccine and treatment inequality around the world, and to help raise awareness of the fact that All too often, the World Trade Organization prioritizes corporations over people.
Hello, my name is Aza Abudaga. I'm a health services researcher at Public Citizens Health Research Group. I've been with the organization since December 2013, and I love the kind of work that I do because it makes a difference in people's lives, whether in terms of making recommendations for which supplements and drugs that are safe or not safe to use. And I'm also work on projects in relation to healthcare provider accountability, and I've published along with others in my group, some of the only work out there in terms of issues in relation to sexual misconduct by nurses and doctors in the country. And it's work that makes a difference in people's lives and holds, the government and holds other people accountable. And it's the kind of work that I personally enjoy doing. Thank you.
Oh, hello. You guys have been hearing a lot about Public Citizen, the nonprofit consumer advocacy organization that champions the public interest, your interest, in the halls of power. But I want to talk for a second about a different organization, a better organization, my organization. We're a for-profit organization that lobbies against the public interest. We're called Private Plutocrat, and we ensure that the government works for me, a rich and powerful CEO of a telecom company with many special corporate interests. Our organization is for small government, although not the military or police. Those guys should be huge. And we're for the police, unless they're standing against an insurrection. And we advocate for the life of every child until they're born. Then they should get a job. If you want to spend $100 million getting a QAnon illiterate voted into Congress, we're here for you. You want to price gouge the public or turn your workers into furniture? Put your feet up. We're happy to help. Transparency? That's for fucking windshields. And the annual cost of medication, it should be the price of a new car. And we make that happen. And people ask, I get asked all the time, hey, Chris, how do you sleep at night? On a bed of your money. So send that money in. Because like a Pop-A-Shot game at a carnival, this system is set up for you to lose, and that's how we like it. So don't listen to these public citizen clowns. Don't give them your money. Spend it shopping online or donating to someone who's going to screw you as soon as it is politically expedient. A donation to Public Citizen fights the very efforts that we are most dedicated to. But a donation to Private Plutocrat will lift up the least vulnerable among us. And people say, by the way, that we don't need money. We need money. We need money too for fully air-conditioned underground bunkers and private security for when you unwashed masses storm the barricades and try to hit us over the head with your vegan cookbooks or pour-over coffee machines or whatever the fuck they're using in Silver Lake now. And people have said to me, hey, you're evil. Why? Just because I pollute and undermine democracy? No. I do it for the love and the money. I do it mostly for the money. The money is speech, though. And look, I'm a white guy. Who'd want to shut me up? I worked hard to get here. I pulled myself up on my bootstraps. Or my father owned a boot factory, or he produced DOS boot, or something boot related. Anyway, don't donate to Public Citizen. Donate to me. I need a yacht to support my other yacht. It's an emotional support yacht. I fucking love that yacht. All right, yeah. Okay, yeah, give me money, or I'll fly myself into space. You know, the biggest waste of it. All right.
Private Plutocrat. We don't give a fuck about anyone else.
Hi, I'm Allison Zeeb, and since 2009, I've been director of Public Citizen Litigation Group. Last summer, I became obsessed with the U.S. Postal Service. After noticing that my own mail was delayed and reading in countless articles about changes being made at the Postal Service, I reached out to lawyers at NAACP Legal Defense Fund and asked, could we work on this problem together and try to solve it? And they said yes. So a few weeks later, on behalf of the NAACP, Public Citizen and LDF sued together to try to undo the changes that the Postal Service had made over the summer that were slowing down our mail. And a few weeks after that, we asked the judge to immediately order the Postal Service to undo those changes. And the judge agreed. So by the end of September, we had orders in place that the Postal Service should cut it out. But it didn't listen. So we then had to go to the judge and say, they're not complying with your orders. We need more specific remedy for the problem that the Postal Service has caused, and we need to monitor what they're doing. And the judge agreed. So what ensued was about 2 weeks of daily hearings from 20 minutes to 4 hours long every day, including weekends, where we got information from the Postal Service and got the judge to order the Postal Service to take more steps to ensure that mail was accounted for and that ballots were delivered on time to be counted. One of the things we did in particular was to ask the judge, and the judge agreed, to order the Postal Service to do sweeps of its facilities twice a day in the days leading up to the election. And what sweeps are is when the employees go through the facility and look everywhere to make sure that they've identified all the ballots that there are and put them in a position to be delivered on time to the State Board of Election so that the ballots can be counted. The Postal Service did not want to do this twice a day. We argued that it should have to, and the judge agreed. It made a big difference, and we could tell because we were getting daily reporting about the ballots that they found and what was going on at postal facilities throughout the country. And if you were reading articles at the time about the Postal Service's performance, chances are those articles were based on the information that we were getting through our lawsuit, the reporters were then getting from us. So after about 2 weeks of doing that, the election happened. Our work made a huge impact in terms of the number of ballots that were delivered in time to be counted. But right away, it turned out there was going to be another election 2 months later, also super important, to find out who was going to be the two senators from Georgia. So we immediately turned our attention to that, went through a similar process of monitoring and documents and orders to ensure that proper procedures were put in place so that the Postal Service delivered the ballots for people who voted in Georgia in time to be counted. Again, our work had a huge impact in making sure that that happened. Once that passed, once that election was over, we realized that we'd uncovered a bigger problem, which is the Postal Service wasn't prepared for delivery of the number of ballots by mail that they now needs to do because people are voting more and more by mail. They have no standard procedures in place to deal with this. And so our lawsuit continues to try to find out exactly what the Postal Service is doing and make sure that they implement procedures so that the next time there's an election, your ballot and my ballot will be delivered in time to be counted. Of course, everybody had a very strong view about what the outcome should be of the last presidential election. Our lawsuit was not about who would win or lose. It was about democracy, the cornerstone of which is the right to vote. And so our goal was not whose ballot should be counted, but just that everyone's ballot would be delivered in time to be counted. And that continues to be the goal as the case goes forward. We're continuing to work on it and happy to do so. And hopefully we'll make a big difference well before the next national election season. Thanks.
Hello to everybody at Public Citizen. I'm John Fugelsang coming to you from New York City, and I apologize for my pandemic mullet. It's awful, I know. I look like Nick Cave had a child with Loki. I look like John Wick in a Moroccan oil shortage. It's not good. Over the last 5 years, a lot of folks have asked me, hey, how could followers of Jesus ever support comb over Caligula? They're not actually followers of Jesus. Their religion is something I call grab 'em by the pussy evangelicals. Sit back and let me explain the top 10 commandments of right-wing Jesus. Number 10, thou shalt not pretend the Bible's against abortion. God states that life begins with first breath. In Genesis, he asserts that women have more value to him than a fetus. In Exodus, he gives rather specific abortion tips for pregnant, unfaithful wives in Numbers chapter 5. And best of all, if you really believe God views children's lives as sacred, let me tell you about Passover. Number 9, thou shalt ignore Jesus on the death penalty. He overturns eye for an eye and Sermon on the Mount, his first ever public speaking gig. He stopped an execution and said only sinless people should be able to carry them out. If there was no death penalty, Jesus might still be here. Thou shalt pretend Jesus hates immigrants as much as you. There are no laws about immigration or borders in the Bible. In Matthew chapter 2, Joseph and Mary hide out for years from Herod in Egypt, which means Jesus grew up an undocumented teen. Thou shalt pretend Jesus hates LGBT people as much as you. These homophobes get all their hatred from the book of Leviticus. That's where it all comes from. But in Leviticus, God also demands the death penalty for people who commit adultery. I'll let y'all work that out with Donald Trump. By the way, if you actually believe that God literally took Adam's rib to create Eve, then you believe the first ever woman transitioned from a man. Thou shalt believe all that prosperity gospel bullshit. Jesus said a lot of socialist stuff, my friends. You received without payment, now give without payment. It's really hard for rich people to get into heaven. You should give away everything you own. And he was obviously paid to be a crisis actor by George Soros. Thou shalt not let your taxes pay for some lazy person's health care. You see, single payer is not a blueprint for socialism. Y'all are thinking of the New Testament. Thou shalt bear false witness. Windmills cause cancer. The 2020 election was stolen. And my favorite, Barack Obama divided us by race. Because that sounds a lot better than Barack Obama really pissed off all the racists. Thou shalt crap on the marginalized. In the book, the character consistently fights for the least of his people, the poorest of the poor, prostitutes, lepers, despised foreign minorities like the Samaritans. American right-wing Christians are again the opposite of Jesus because they're all about how much can you beat up on the marginalized. The asylum seekers at our border, poor folks on SNAP benefits, trans kids who want to use a bathroom they feel comfortable in, trans soldiers who want to serve their country. Trump Christians are not just insane, they're no room at the insane. Thou shalt pretend America is a Christian nation. If your Christian nation was founded using slaves, your nation wasn't Christian. I will believe America is a Christian nation when we use our tax dollars to help the poor and sick and let private charity bail out Wall Street. The number one commandment of right-wing Jesus, thou shalt ignore everything Jesus actually taught. Jesus was a peaceful, radical, nonviolent revolutionary. He was anti-public prayer, Matthew 6:5, but never anti-gay, brown-skinned, homeless, unarmed, anti-slut-shaming, community organizing, Palestinian liberal Jew. But that's only if you believe what's actually in the Bible. So that's why I'm not afraid of the people who hijack airplanes. I'm afraid of the people who hijack Christianity. Because the only thing Donald Trump and Jesus have in common are they both hung out with hookers and they both use ghostwriters. Thank you.
Hey, public citizen and all of your fine friends and fans out there. It's Congressman Jamie Raskin from Maryland's beautiful 8th Congressional District. What a great honor this is to be given the golden boot from you guys. And it's actually already in my office. It arrived. I got the golden boot. When I first heard, I thought it meant you were giving me the boot. And then when it was explained to me that we're on the same side, that you were expressing solidarity with my efforts, this delighted me and overwhelmed me. So I love Public Citizen. I love your president and CEO or executive director. I can't remember the title of Rob Weissman. And you guys do a remarkable job on Capitol Hill, always fighting for the common good and the common man and the common woman. And I know you are a nonpartisan organization, unlike me. So I thought I would invoke our last great Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, who spoke of government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And we know it didn't start out that way, and it hasn't always been like that. But Public Citizen is very much pushing America in the right direction to make sure the government's an instrument of the common good, of the public interest, and not an opportunity for people to get into office and use the government as an instrument of private self-enrichment for themselves, their families, their hotels, their drinking buddies, and their country club, and so on. So we got to make sure that government is working for everybody, and that's how we're going to restore and renew people's faith in democracy. We've got to make government work, and Public Citizen is such an essential and critical part of that. And part of making government work in our democracy is restoring those bonds of trust and affection among people, recreating a small d democratic political culture. So thank you so much for being part of that. I don't know if I deserve this beautiful golden boot, but I will work every single day to deserve it and to keep fighting with you guys for a government that actually serves the common good and the people of the country, and not a bunch of right-wing special interests and political cliques that believe in insurrection and exploitation. So I look forward to working with you guys for many, many years more. And hello to all of your magnificent honorees and performers tonight. I saw Lucinda Williams and Graham Nash and all these amazing people who are being honored. And I wish I could see them in person, but we'll get back together soon enough. Thanks again. I really appreciate it.
Lay down, girl, the summer's coming on. Take off your makeup and take off your shoes. Trade in a dress for something oversized and let your mind go wherever you choose. Don't try to be a woman anymore. Nobody's taught you how. Skin your knees and throw punches in the air. 'Cause nobody's stopping you now. It's okay to step away from the crowd. Nobody's stopping you now.
Hey, everybody, we are almost done, but do not go away. Almost done, but not done yet. I promise you, this show goes out with a bang. Just hold on. Just one more minute. I want to thank everybody who's participated in the show, all the comedians, musicians, our amazing staff. Especially want to appreciate Representative Mondaire Jones and our great new champions in Congress, and our Golden Boot awardee, Representative Jamie Raskin. You know, after January 6th, when so many of us felt such a pit in our stomach and a hole in our heart, when he went to the Senate floor and led the impeachment fight, you know, he restored our faith in democracy. I want to thank Brother Steve Scrovan, putting this show together and doing so much great work and putting in so much time for Public Citizen. The amazing Billy Sanders, who's been signing along with this and has become now a Public Citizen celebrity. Thank you so much, Billy. And thanks to all of you. We actually made it across that goal, $400,000. We super appreciate you pitching in. Appreciate all of you for supporting Public Citizen, being part of this community. We do so much good stuff together. We've got so much work ahead. Very excited about doing that. And I am even more excited at this very moment to be able to introduce the Shoal Survivors who are going to take us out.
Hello again, everybody. We're the Shoal Survivors. Last year during lockdown, we sang about getting by with a little help from your friends. This year, we're going to sing some songs about coming out of the darkness and into the light, about coming out of the rain and into the sunshine. Y'all ready? Here we go.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Oh yes, I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Yeah, here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
Yeah! All you beautiful people out there, why don't y'all come along and just get on this love train, baby? People all over the world, join in on the love train, love train. Next stop that we make will be England. Tell all the folks in Russia and China too, yeah. Don't you know that it's time to get on board?
see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Oh yes, I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Yeah, here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.